Alrighty, welcome back to Game of the Day, and welcome to Factorio. This is one of my personal favorite games, just as basically all the other games that I have played and showed off in Game of the Day. But Factorio is a special one simply because it's actually one of the few games that kind of has defeated me multiple times. I can pretty confidently say this is probably the most complex game I have ever played. I think I'm pretty confident in saying that. The gist of the game, to kind of give anybody who's never heard of this game or played this game before, gist of the game is you're a space engineer that has crash landed on an alien planet. We don't really know where our character was heading or for why, but all we know is we've crashed here. And now as a space engineer who is obviously smart enough to build their own rocket ship, we now have to create automated factories, harvest the resources that are necessary, and survive to create another rocket ship to get off the planet, is the base gist of this game. Because this planet that we've landed on, we are not alone here. There is an alien race that are lovingly termed as the biters that inhabit this planet, and the number one thing that they actually thrive off of and love is pollution. And well, if you're going to build an automated factory, which like these humble beginnings with automated electric minings, little inserters that take ore and coal into smelters, and then take this, another inserter takes the smelted iron plate and puts it on a belt to then become something new entirely. All these little things produce pollution, and the biters will literally absorb the pollution, and it makes them stronger. It causes them to actually evolve to become smarter and stronger, and it obviously helps them reproduce faster. So that's just kind of this very short synopsis of what this game's all about. And I've probably dumped close to over 200, probably pushing more to 300 hours into this game. And I've actually never even beaten it. To beat the original just baseline game, you simply have to build a rocket, launch into space, and that technically counts as you beating it. Because I have a funny issue with this game as well. I'm a very OCD type person. I'm a perfectionist at heart. Either that's a good thing or a bad thing. Debatable. But my problem with this game is you have such free reign to do whatever you like. As slow as you like, as fast as you like, as efficient as you want, or not efficient as you want. And all of your choices have consequences or not. But my thing is I just get so overwhelmed with all of the tiny little details and wanting things to be organized, look good, but also run efficiently, which most of the time you can't have both. And the other thing that I try to steer away from, but it's very difficult, is there's so many guides out there in this game because it's so complicated, because it's so difficult to be really efficient. There's so many YouTubers that have just guides for builds of this is how you set up this is the perfect ratios. Like for instance, a ratio that you kind of just memorize over time, especially if you look for help. But to fill a whole belt, as you see this belt moving, a whole belt of resources, if you want it to be iron plates, then you need 30 miners, you need 48 smelters working, so 30 miners feeding ore into 48 smelters, and that will give you a full belt, yellow belt, because there's different tiers of belts, can't forget that. That'll give you a full yellow belt of iron plates. That's just one of probably the hundreds or thousands of ratios of what you would say like peak efficiency. And I try to steer away from looking that up and instead try to go more for figuring that out myself, but it takes a lot more time. So with this playthrough, I am dedicated more towards not just looking up guides, copying and pasting what somebody else has built, but building at the pace that I want to, making it look the way I want to, aesthetically and how it's organized. And not worry so much about efficiency wise. Because for me, I like things to be compact. I like it to look good. Because I've tried like I said, I've tried multiple playthroughs of this game, and every time I either get burnt out because I try to go too big, or I try to go too fast, or I just try to copy what somebody else does, and it just kind of takes the joy out of it. So this time, I'm going to play it the way I like to play. So here's kind of our little starting area. All that red stuff that you see on the screen is actually the pollution that I am producing with my factory. Every starting position, you can tweak a bunch of the settings. This is kind of the only settings I change, this isn't a default world, it's what they call a rail world, which is focused on more of the resource passages are bigger. They have more like resources to them, but they're more spread out. It tries to encourage you to use trains to transport ore back and forth to where you like it. And the also nice thing about rail worlds is if you look over here, this is a little biter nest. Now I can't see it since my radars that I have going, like one of these guys, isn't close enough to be able to see it. If I put a radar like out here, I'd actually be able to see it. But you can see this biter nest is actually consuming pollution, and when it consumes pollution, it tries to send little armies of biters, as you can see here, to come and attack you. So hence the wall, hence the miniguns that I have in place. But this is a very small part of a very ginormous map. And every starting area, you start off with some copper ore, iron, coal, and some stone to kind of get you kick-started. So what I want to focus on right now is getting more defenses in place. It's actually probably good enough. I think 100 turrets is probably more than enough to fill the rest of this. But I want to clear some space. I want to place down all of my turrets. And then I'd like to get a belt. Oh, see, right up there, that was some of the biters attacking my turrets, activating and shooting them. So I want to get a belt that runs around the perimeter of my fence that allows my turrets to automatically take ammo from it to be able to replenish their missing ammo. That's good. Well, actually, it's still online. Okay, perfect. And this kind of defense perimeter will definitely last me for the beginning of the game. Because a weird kind of debate that you have playing this game is you can kind of sit back, keep producing pollution that the nests will consume, and they send waves of enemies after you to try to obviously stop whatever's polluting the planet. I need to scoot all these over so they're in line. Okay. I like, see, aesthetically, and just for, let's get there. aesthetically, and then I also don't need that many guns this early on, especially in the starting up. But I'm doing it basically where I can fit 3 turrets in between, doing that amount of spacing. Okay, so I have to remember that I need a 1 space off for my turrets to allow an inserter to be able to then grab from the belt, which will be full of ammo, to then put into the gun. Nice thing is, with my radars, I can actually do this from kind of a top-down view, where I can just click and drag. Okay, 1 off, like that. Oh, too far. Yep, 1 off. I'm gonna have to go through and clear some of those trees, but that's okay. One off, yep. Okay, cool. So there's the circular belts that will run along the perimeter. I need to come cut down a bunch of these trees. And actually, in the meantime, I don't really need a ton more resources. Yeah, I almost got the amount that I need. So I'm actually going to cut off power to everything. And this will actually stop spreading pollution. So now I've cut off my power to all this because I don't, at the current moment, I don't need to be producing a whole ton of everything. I have enough turrets. I can actually put some of these back. I'm gonna need probably some more inserters, so I'll grab some more iron plates to make those. And I'll probably need a couple more belts to put into place. But this was something that, like, I honestly, it took me so many hours to kind of realize that, like, okay, I don't really need to have my factory always running or producing things, because that just means more pollution is put out, which means you're gonna have more biter attacks. This is a little underground belt, so it kind of goes underneath that piping. Instead of me having to move that pipe, I can just put a belt that goes underneath it. But just the idea that, oh yeah, I can just turn off my factory, let it just chill for a minute while I design and build something. Because in the past, I would just always just kind of have it running in the background, just keep putting piles and piles of stuff into chests. But that just means more and more pollution, which means the biters evolve more, and the biters keep coming to attack you. Clear away these trees. Trees are actually nice to have. This is obviously in the inside perimeter of my base, so I'll probably cut down most of the trees that are inside my base. So you can see up here, and there's a couple up there actually. Simple reason being that why trees are nice is they actually absorb pollution. And so they stop pollution from spreading as much. So you always try to save as many trees as you can, but that is a big part of this game, is just simply demolishing the world for the resources that you need. Which is funny, because it's just, not that that in and of itself is funny, but it's just cool to see that, like, a video game where the underlying message is basically that, like, you know, if you were stranded on an alien planet and the only way you could get home was to basically just reap the resources and pillage them to do so, like, would you do it? So just kind of a funny. I'm gonna have these running so it'll put out a little bit of pollution, but for the amount of electricity it's consuming, it won't be a crazy amount. It'd be a lot better than all of my miners running. The radar just helps, so it actually expands the map edges. So like it'll discover this little block, so then I can discover more resources, kind of like this oil down here, or this coal, as well as show me where other biter bases are. But I think I was saying before is like, it's basically a game of, do you just sit back, relax, and wait for the biters to come to you and just, you know, just have your defenses in order? Or do you proactively go out and attack the biter bases and wipe them out before they can really do any damage, I guess you can say. I'm gonna put this guy there just so I can fit this a little bit better. Ah, dang it, I gotta flip all of these around. Which way your inserters are facing actually make a big deal. I want them this the flat side you see on the right, and then the arrow on the left that shows that the inserter will grab stuff from the belt and then put it into the turret. Okay, which one of these guys need more ammo? You. Probably you. Cool. That should be good for now. The nice thing is, so you'll see like there's stuff that's put down that obviously is like solid, and then you'll see stuff that is like a ghostly blue. Why is my layout off here? Which one was I off on? Which one has an extra space? Huh, can't tell. Anyway, but what I was saying, so these are blueprints, which basically means you can design how you want to set up to look before you actually place it down. So then you can just remove it instead of trying to design it. Dang. It got off. Look. So it's supposed to go 1, 2, 3. That goes there. Wait, where did it get off? Right here, I think. Oh, it's actually right here. Dang. So this needs to be over, which means all of these have to be over. Okay. That should have fixed the problem. Again, it's just a weird aesthetic thing for myself. I like things to look in line. Probably a little bit of OCD on my part. Nice thing is I can actually just go into my map view and place stuff along. The blueprints are really nice, and it took me so long, and sometimes I still don't utilize them like the way I should. Because sometimes I'll just go ahead and build something, and I don't like the look of it, or I don't like where it's placed, or I actually want to get something else built first, and it just becomes a really big headache to actually go through and take a bunch of stuff down when I could have just built it first in blueprint mode. And then if I didn't like how it looked or set up, I can just basically go over it, copy and paste it, or just delete it. It makes it a lot easier. And like I said, this playthrough, I'm really trying my darndest to design everything myself, play at the pace I want, not play in a way where it's like me copying somebody else's builds. And honestly, building the stuff I want to build. Like, there's definitely a clear pattern about what to progress through quickly to get to some really cool stuff. But honestly, it just, I don't mind taking my time. Like this, and this is a great example that I've never done before. It's just like, of just turning off my factory while I just design some stuff that I want to build. Because this makes it so much easier biter wise, so that I'm not just always worried about a new wave of biters, because I'm not actually producing enough pollution. See how it's already where the trees are, they've already consumed it, and since I'm not producing more, it's just leaving patches that will slowly over time go away. Okay, so each one of these inserters is going to need a power pole next to it, actually. So a nice thing I can do is I can just hold left click while I run, and it will actually place power poles where something needs to be powered. But also, like these small power poles, they can't go super far from each other. And so I'm trying to, instead of trying to figure out exactly how best to space them, I can just hold left click. And as I run along, it'll place them exactly where something needs power, and then the max distance that the power pole will go itself. And you know, as I'm just thinking about stuff I've done in the past with this game, like, honestly, a big part of it too is, I think why taking my time seems so much more appealing to me this time around is simply because in the past, when I realized that I either was too slow, or I kind of jumped the gun, I expanded out too fast, etc. It doesn't matter really what it is. Or it was just me copying and pasting blueprints that somebody else had built. Either way, I just felt like every time when I got burnt out, for whatever reason that was, I just started over. Well, time to go back to the drawing board. And that's why I think a big part is why I've never actually beaten the game. And I don't know if that's just in my mind, it was like I have to do it a certain way, like everything needs to go smoothly, because when things go wrong in this game, especially when it comes to biters attacking you, like things go wrong quickly. And it can be a massive headache to recover from if you're not careful. And so it can feel like really, really defeating. Which is, again, probably another reason why I've always just kind of restarted. But with this playthrough of taking my time, being smarter as I take my time, hopefully it means that I can slowly chug along, build what I want to build, build how I want it to look, and not have to worry so much about, you know, messing up or having to just restart. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to need, so here's kind of the crafting menu. And you unlock more stuff through what is called research. You make like these weird science packs out of certain ingredients, and then you put them into these labs, which consume it, and then you unlock different tiers of stuff. So I mean, just scrolling through that just gives you an idea of how much stuff you can build, and just how overwhelmingly complicated it can get really fast. I mean, to do this stuff down here, I need 5 different science packs, and each science pack, as you go up, costs more, involves more resources that are complex, which means you have to harvest more resources, smelt more resources, transport more resources to be able to do that. You get really cool stuff as you research, but it's just, there's a saying in Factorio that is, the factory must grow. It's kind of a meme saying, but it is very true. The factory must grow. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out because now I need to set up some ammo automation so I can then put that onto the roundabout belt. That'll just keep loading up the belt until it's full for my turrets to be able to be fully loaded with ammo. But I'm trying to think where exactly I want to put that. Because this little automation area that you can see with these assembling machines that create new parts or take parts to then automatically build something for you, so I don't have to go in here and craft it by hand. This little automation area is kind of just for parts that I need, such as belts. I did one for my turrets to place around the base. I do have one for ammo that I can transfer just directly onto the belt for later. But I'm trying to think of where exactly. I kind of want it out closer to the edge, and I'm actually very, very tempted to build just a little bit of smelting to just automatically, just so it's like its own automatic thing, so I don't have to like take iron from here, transport it up here to have what they call spaghetti belts, where you just have belts running everywhere with resources. Again, I'm trying to go for more aesthetically pleasing kind of look to it. So the real question is, how do I want to design it? And I know I'm kind of running close to the end of time, of my recording time. And so I might have to do, maybe I'll save it for the next video or just kind of start it out. So let's actually take a look at the recipe and see if we can kind of figure out the ratio of math to see how many smelters we need, how many miners we need. So, firearm magazine. We need 4 plates, and it takes 1 second to craft the magazine. So ultimately, for this one assembler to create 1 firearm per second, my smelters need to be producing 4 plates a second to be ultimately efficient. If I look at raw plates, it takes about 3.2 seconds in a furnace with 1 iron ore to create, so it takes about 3.2 seconds to create one iron plate from one iron ore. And if I need 4 iron plates a second, let's see. So in this game also takes a lot of math, so I think for a lot of people they'd probably be put off by that. Let me see. Let's see if I actually remember what I learned in middle school or high school. So I need 4 plates a second. It takes 3.2 seconds to make one iron plate. So if I had 3 smelters, it'd be making about 1.06 plates per second with 3. And if I need 4, then I need about 12 smelters. Right? If I need 3 smelters smelting at 3.2 seconds for 1 iron plate, and I ultimately need 4 iron plates a second, and it takes 3 just to get 1 iron plate going per second, then I need to do that 4 more times. So I need 12 smelters. Which do I have? I need more stone, actually. Let me come down here to my stone miners to pick up some stone. Perfect. This should be enough. Yep. So I need 12 smelters. Six. And want that. I can copy and paste that. And then I'm going to need a belt on both sides to be able to feed in, as you can see down here, feed in both the iron and the coal to be able to run the smelters. So if I get 12 smelters, that'll be producing 4 iron plates a second, which should allow this to operate continuously, needing 4 plates per second to make 1 ammo. Then, how many miners am I going to need to have the belts fully saturated so they're not waiting on ore? Well, for a full belt of iron, you need 48 smelters, which is, this is a quarter of that. And if it takes 30 miners to fill 48 smelters, then I need a quarter of 30, which should be close to 7. Probably 8. I'll probably need 8. So I'll need to make 8 miners. And you need to pick up a little bit more of that to make more. Let's put this way. So there's 8. You can copy and paste that. And we're just gonna put it probably right there. Copy and paste that there. Flip that around. Yeah, I think the math checks out. Need more lights. Like something as simple as like these lights, these lamps. They're not necessary. Most of the time people just don't even bother. But aesthetically, at nighttime, if you have the electricity connected, which I do not, then it lights up your whole factory and it makes it look really nice. Okay, so I can actually cut and paste this. I'm gonna do it about there, just so aesthetically it lines up really nice. But I am gonna need one there, one there. Flip that around, go that way. Because I'm going to be having coal from down here run up to here and then fed into this smelting column to then smelt the iron they need so that this assembler can make ammo to then put on this belt. And so, yeah, that's just like a very simple step-by-step of how I try to go about designing a new, right, where you got to start from the top or the bottom to best figure out, okay, so how much mining equipment am I going to need to be able to fill this many smelters to then be able to fill this many assemblers to capacity. And it's just little stuff like that that, like, it's really fun for my brain to figure out, but if I'm not careful, it definitely does overwhelm you. So if you are somebody that just loves this idea, it's funny because I'm going to be studying programming for career-wise and school-wise, and this reminds me a lot of that. Like, it's just little step-by-step things that build on top of each other to then get you the end product that you want. And trying to figure that out and understand how that works can be really complicated, and it can look super, super overwhelming. But ultimately, it's actually a really, really fun game. I love this game. Even when I get frustrated and burnt out, I always just keep coming back to play it because it's just one of the best base builders, resource management out there. Like, it's not like a town builder where you need merchants and a smithy and, you know, you've got to control population. No, it's just you and machines. But the amount of possibility with the game is actually just endless. Like, the amount of ridiculous stuff that I've seen people make and on an insane amount of scale is quite astonishing. So I would definitely recommend this to anybody. There will definitely be more videos of this coming to the future because it's one of my favorite games out there, and I do want to get to the end of this game. I do want to beat this game, but I want to do it in a way that I actually really enjoy it. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you're having a wonderful day yourself, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.